Good morning, my name is Jonathan Hudson and we're here to talk with Dr. Olin. He's going to get us caught up on some beginning of the school year stuff and also a few other things. So first of all, good morning, how are you?
I'm great, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Welcome to the new studio. What are your, normally you're used to the other studio. What are your thoughts with this new setup that we have?
I like it. As we discussed a few minutes ago, different cameras. I'm seeing some different screens. I like the digital display behind us. I think you've done really well in a quick time.
Thank you, I appreciate it. It was a quick time. It seems like it came together pretty quick. So we obviously appreciate the funding for that as well. So on to some GC stuff. So always in the summer, we have new staff that we bring in. So can you kind of talk about that and getting them trained and ready for the school year and sometimes what appears to be a pretty short amount of time?
Well, there's no doubt that summers for educators on a balanced calendar, it is a very short time frame, and we can talk about that, everything from the construction side of things to staffing. I know that our principals just work really hard throughout the summer to fill gaps that we have, and it's a reality. Doesn't matter where your school corporation is, Central Indiana or California, there's a lot of hiring that needs to be done. So I'm very appreciative of our principals. We have a lot of teachers that give up their time over the summer to be on committees. You know, it's very rare for us that a principal is just going to hire somebody on their own. They will almost always bring in a core team to conduct those interviews. So a lot of hiring did go on, although our numbers are down. I think we hired about 27 new staff members that were on the certified side. The biggest one, I would say, from an impact standpoint, would be right here at the high school.
Correct.
We hired Dan Walbaum to be our principal. We did that early. We did that in the spring, gave him an opportunity to finish up the year at Lafayette Jeff. And then he spent basically from graduation on, he was here at the high school trying to get acclimated to the community for a guy that had spent over 50 years of his life in West Lafayette to make that transition down here. I'm excited for him, but I know it's been a lot on his plate. So learning the facility with everything that's happening here, bringing in a few new staff members as well. That was a hire that impacts almost 1,500 kids and well over 100 staff members here, so very excited about that. But certainly we had a number of key hires other places throughout the district, everywhere from first grade classrooms to here at the high school with language arts. Another big impact hire, you mentioned earlier to the girls behind the scenes here within the theater area, having Mr. Dahlstrom here, another big hire for us that will be very visible for our community. Jeff, great experiences in Warren Township, Civic Theater. Bringing those experiences here as we're getting ready to open up that auditorium has been big. I know he's been in on a lot of our construction meetings that took place over the summer. When you open up a facility of that size, you want to make sure that you bring someone in who has a quality resume. Well, Mr. Dahlstrom definitely has that. You also want someone who can be in many of those meetings as we're establishing things for that area. So I know I'm brushing over many of the hires that we did over the summer, but a couple of them that really impact this facility here, we did very well with those hires.
Yeah, I would agree. And of course, I got to be involved in bringing in Mr. Walbaum, and I've been helping him out with bike routes because I know he's a big triad. He's got Chattanooga coming up here pretty soon, big Ironman guy, and we've gotten to meet Mr. Dahlstrom as well. We've already done an interview with him. Kaylee did a great job. So really two quality people, and then a lot of reassignments as well across the district.
Yeah, just one that would be very visible for some people in our community with Scott Miller had been the assistant principal at J.B. Stevens for the last 4 or 5 years, and we did move him to Maxwell. Scott was a teacher for a long time between grades 3 and 6, but has many years of his career working with the intermediate school students, and just felt like that was a great compliment to Lisa Lilliard, the principal there. So I know they've been off to a great start. And in that move, we moved Corey Gilman from Maxwell, where he started there technically in about October. So he had 3/4 of the year there. Moved him back to an elementary setting, so he's at J.B. Stevens. So those would be a couple of those key moves that I was referencing when I shared that with you.
Awesome. So moving on, everyone always wants to know what's going on with the auditorium.
Yep.
And every time I see you, we talk about it. So are we getting close? That's what the people really want to know.
And I think it's a fair question. I think our students as they've been coming into the building. Starting on day one, we gave them access to that northeast entrance so they could come into the 2-story entry, all that glass, and walking over the GC seal and the terrazzo. We asked students to go into the gym for those first 3 weeks because we didn't have that east-west corridor turned over to us yet. Well, I can say this week, students have been allowed to walk that east-west corridor that runs between the auditorium box and the gymnasium. So again, giving them a bigger glimpse of what is to come. The auditorium specific, we like to call it the box area, that is on schedule to be turned over to us the first or second week of October. Of course, that's our fall break at that time, but as students come back after fall break into quarter 2, we should have full access to that. That timeline has not changed for us in the updates from the Skillman Corporation over the last really 4 or 5 months. So I think we're still on target to hit that.
Good. I know it's been just a long project, and a lot of things happen with a project of that nature, but it's definitely been coming along. So.
When you say a long project, just to give you some scale, we started looking at auditoriums almost 4 years ago.
Wow.
Just looking at things that we would like to have before we even went out to bid with architects and to get some design on that work. So it's been a long process for me, and I am so excited to turn that over to our students. I know that we have somebody in this room with us today who will be on stage at some point. Obviously, the existing auditorium has served this community well for over 50 years, but what we're going to be able to offer students and this community in that new auditorium is just blows your mind.
Yep. I know we're looking forward already to the first school meeting when we all get together as teachers. We'll all be in there together for the first time, so that'd be super neat. So I wanted to move on to talk about the graduation rate.
Yep.
We're still kind of working on that. Big shout out to Todd Grimes over the Academy and his team. They do great work over there. I go over there and work with a student personally who's wrapping up his studies. So can you tell us kind of where we're at with graduation rate, sort of what our timeline looks like to get those last kids to the finish line?
Yep. It's interesting that the local paper just did an article here in the last 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks, about the graduation rate from 2023, which was a year that it was a little low for us. I mean, for us to drop down to just about 88%, we were all disappointed with that. And as I had shared with the paper, I'm not making any excuses. Every cohort has a different set of challenges, and clearly that cohort that graduated in 2023 was impacted by the pandemic, like those that went before them and after them. But for some reason, it really hit that group hard. And despite the interventions we had in place, a few more kids fell through the crack. And I take that responsibility very seriously. I was proud to see with our rate from 2024, we're going to be back over 90% again. It was almost 91%. And you referenced it. We do a lot of great work here at the high school in terms of meeting the class where they are. You have about 350 kids year in and year out jumping into a senior class. The 80 staff members here, certified, the other 40, 50 non-certified staff, embracing our kids, giving them a vision for success, helping them methodically move toward graduation works for a vast majority of our kids. But you referenced Todd Grimes, Jill Benvenuti at the Academy just to the south of us here. Their graduation rate this year was, I believe, 88% for students who are choosing a little bit alternate path toward graduation. And that's a lot of long hours and hard work poured into that. So I am very grateful for the work of both Todd and Jill in particular. So just happy to report that we were able to bounce back to where we've been the previous 4 or 5 years. And no, we haven't hit our goal of 95%, but we're getting closer to that. And obviously we'll continue to retool the die, so to speak, to meet the needs of our kids. We have different graduation requirements currently as we're in the pathways model. We're just a couple years into that. The General Assembly doing a lot of tweaking, working with the State Department of Education about what the diplomas will look like in 2027, 2028, and beyond. That could look very different for us, and we have been very adaptive here at Greenfield Central, and we will continue to do that to make sure that we are equipping our graduates to do the things they want to do when they leave our four walls here, whether that's go right into employment, enlist, go to a 2-year, 4-year school. We want to make sure that they're equipped to meet those goals.
Yeah, and along those same lines, just by reading the proposed new diploma, it seems like they're going a lot more work-based. So what is kind of your opinion on that? And how does that kind of suit what we're already doing here at the school with the programs that we offer?
I was quoted in the paper recently. I do applaud the state for giving us some flexibility. I think if you're a college-bound student, you know what you want to do, I can assure you that rigor is still going to be here at Greenfield Central. We will continue to provide dual credit AP opportunities, setting kids up for that success, advancing their coursework beyond their grade levels, going back into really their 4th and 5th grade experiences. So that won't change. So I want to give people some peace of mind there. We're not dumbing down the curriculum in any way here. But there is a reality that many students aren't going to want to go to a 2 or 4-year school when they graduate. They know that early on, whether that's wanting to go into the military or into a trade. This flexibility that the state is looking to give us will allow us to get those students out into the community earlier, particularly the junior and senior year, that they can have some apprenticeship opportunities that will meet their needs while also meeting the needs that our community has. I mean, Greenfield is a growing community. Hancock County, the fastest growing county of the 92 counties in the state of Indiana, based on percentage of growth. The number of businesses that are pouring into the Mount Comfort corridor, moving into Greenfield. There are numerous job opportunities. We need to make sure that our kids understand what those opportunities are, that they have an opportunity to try those things out a little bit earlier to see if that's what they want to do for that next phase of their life. So I guess in short, I'm saying I do applaud the state for giving us some flexibility, because it is important for some of our students to get those opportunities earlier, and it meets a community need.
I couldn't agree with that more, and obviously being a class that sort of fits into that, it's really cool to be able to get kids that, very early on maybe know that they want to do something like this, but if not, they can try a lot of other programs that we offer here.
We do offer a lot here, and I'm very proud of the things that we're able to do for a school of our size. I think when you put us up against other schools that have 1,200 to 1,500 kids, we have so many opportunities for kids, and so many, I use the term pathways, but just so many different things that kids can do to pursue their passions, whether that's in the performing arts, or whether that's in STEM, or whether that's in some of the more traditional academic areas. We have things for kids to do.
Yes, we do. So that's going to wrap up our time for now. We look forward to having Dr. Olin in, really like once a month now is what I'm hoping.
Looking forward to it.
So we have a long list of things we have to get to, and we'll cover those on our next episode. But Dr. Olin, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
We always appreciate you coming in, and thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for more updates. This is Dr. Harold Olin, and I'm Jonathan Hudson, and you guys have a great day.